Hello YouTube and Infinite Magic Raid community. So today, we got some interesting news from Infinite Magic Raid. Looks like we've got a Miracle Wish Up banner coming on the 10th, which is going to include classic heroes Quinlan, Seth, Popper, and Bull, and a new one, Ronai, which we don't quite have information on just yet. Looks like we've got Javis, Adora, Schist, and a new one, Gertrude. We've got the Voyage Adventures just started, and the Gift of Heaven will be open very soon as well. Um, so the reason why I wanted to make this video, right, is that we just got a new stamp in the raid up. So let's just quickly jump over to the gallery and take a look. Now we haven't pulled it yet. I'm not sure if we will, but I did want to go ahead and get into the description of the stamp. So if we read, when the owner enters the battle, right, it increases their max HP by 24%. This is already very good, like a decent little effect to have on said stamp. This could be good for PvP, PvE, etc. I can see it stacking very well with heroes that are using like a recovery horn for your faction abyss push, and if you're a newer player and you need survivability for like Guild Boss 6 and things like that, even Dwarven Ruins farming, this can help you a lot on your recovery horn hero. Uh, if we continue on with the skill, it says also if an ally has consolidation effects or effects considered as consolidation, which are granted by the owner. So the owner has to have an ability that grants consolidation. A classic one to think about is Kath. She's pictured on the stamp, but we happen to go through all of the factions and list the different heroes that this can be used on, because personally, I think that this stamp is going to be great for new and experienced players pushing Faction Abyss, and that's why I'm so excited about this, right? But let's continue reading. It will grant Glory Shield on them for 3 turns. So when the duration of a ally's Glory Shield ends, or when they are granted with it repeatedly, it restores their HP by 10% of the owner's max HP. So this stacks with the increase of max HP, and typically, on your heroes that are going to have this consolidation ability, you're more than likely going to have a recovery horn on them for the faction push. So this is all just going to scale off of itself and really help you sustain through the waves and through the boss fight. This is going to be a really good Faction Abyss pushing stamp. I would recommend getting one if you need to make that push for E3 Agatha. This is going to help you a lot with survivability, sustainability, etc. If we continue to read, this restoration effect can be triggered as well when the ally's HP is lower than 35% or when the owner dies. So if your ally drops below this 35% threshold, then the restoration effect triggers as well. So they'll gain that 10% of the owner's max HP. So, the last effect of it is having Glory Shield reduces the chance of getting a crit up to 24%, or by 24%, up to 1 layer. So this can be really good for PvP as well, in addition to the Faction Abyss, because the boss in Faction Abyss is going to crit. And then a lot of your cleave teams, like Melchio and some of the other DDs, Belton, Margarita, Bull, etc. Whatever your zone or arena opponents might be using that are, playing into this classic crit rate, crit damage type of build. Donald's even. Trying to think. I mean, there's a number of PvP heroes that can be mitigated by this stamp. I mean, this is a very good stamp. I would highly recommend pulling it if you need some of these abilities. I know for me personally, I really need some more copies of this hang stamp, so I will be pulling for this specifically just to help me with my Wuthering Coast adventures. But this Glory of Guardian, wow, this is a great stamp. Another interesting thing that we haven't seen before. So if you go into the wish rate up, you can actually select which echo you want. This is the first time that we've been able to do this. This is huge. This lets us know that possibly in the future we might see other LTE stamps that we haven't been able to pull, such as I know a lot of people really like Jack. A lot of people need some Lydia stamps. Like we'll be able to revisit um Lydia, we'll be able to revisit Popper, Jack, Hang, Singer, all of these LTE stamps, which you cannot pull anymore because the normal rate up banner consists of these first 9. So it'll be really good for us to catch up on old stamps. I really love this feature that they've put out because, like I said, I don't really want to go for the cast stamp just now, But it's good to know that right now for, what I'm looking for, I can grab Hag, and then at some point in the future I can pick Kath in the raid up if I need to. So this is a really good feature. I'm very glad that they implemented it. But without further ado, let's get right on into the factions. So we'll start with Sword Harbor, obviously, because it's made for Catherine. So when doing a Sword Harbor push, right? And I've only got 2 stars on the last one, and I've regressed since then because I made my Agatha push. But classic teams for clearing 430 include Catherine, Donald. I'm the only one to do it with Barry, so I wouldn't say this is a hero that you'd use, but you got a lot of this type of team. So the stamp is going to be super useful for Catherine, and I'm looking at the heroes, right, that this stamp could benefit if you are new. Catherine is obviously going to be a solid choice. It looks like it does work for Solly as well. The only issue that I have with this is that it's a 4-turn cooldown, so you're not going to be making the most out of it. Whereas if we look into Catherine's ability, right here, the consolidation is a 4-turn cooldown, but she casts one more action after getting the exclusive 3. So instead of 4, it'd be 3 turns. So basically, every time she's ready to cast this ability, she's granting a heal. So every 3 turns, you're going to be consistently getting that heal, and typically you will build Cath high into speed and HP. So this will help you with your survivability. It's very good. So we're really happy about that. We're gonna go into all the heroes that this can benefit. Because like I said, this is going to be good for players of all shapes and sizes pushing Faction Abyss. There are epic heroes that benefit from this. There are legendary heroes. I mean, this is going to help people all across the board push their Faction Abyss if they haven't done it yet, or if the new faction drops and you need to push even higher for your E4 Agatha or even your E3 Agatha. This will help you. This is a good stamp for healing, and healing is a big part of pushing Faction Abyss because some teams you have to kind of sustain through the waves, and some teams you have to nuke the waves. And either way you look at it, however you handle your wave management with the teams that you have, you still need to make it through the boss fight. The boss does a lot of damage, so you're gonna have a lot of healing. So let's jump into Dragon Tribe. I've searched through all the abilities of all these epic and legendary heroes, and it looks like Whim is the only person that provides consolidation, and it is a 3-turn cooldown. So this would be good again for your faction push because it's going to increase your amount of healing. You're going to typically have Panda or Santa as well, if you're more experienced. So between these 3, you should have a lot of healing now. I know whenever I did the Sword Harbor push, I used a recovery horn on Whim, so it's only going to further increase that amount of healing. If I ever want to farm Dragon again, I can go right back into that, and it'll be a lot easier to farm higher floors because I'll have that extra sustainability. No other heroes do provide consolidation, so we're just looking at Whim as the sole benefactor of the stamp. So let's jump into. So Sunset does not have anybody that provides consolidation. So there's no help in Sunset, unfortunately. But these stamps, they come out every 2 weeks, so it's possible that we might see some stuff in the future that could help. But this is a great support stamp. Enforcers, a classic hero that we'll see in our lineups is Teru. Teru does provide consolidation, and it is a 3-turn consolidation. So it happens fairly frequently as well. It is consolidation 2, so that's good. And his kit's built around healing and shielding, so the stamp will work really well for him. I do know that they've got a stamp for Teru. Let's just look and see, or maybe Trina's Blessing. I believe this is Teru. Yeah. So um, what this does is increases their shield effect, their healing effect, and their max HP. So if you don't have this stamp, honestly, I would think that this is better because this is going to prevent the crit rate, which is huge for the boss fight. So this stamp will arguably be better than the pictured stamp for Teru. So this should outshine through that other stamp. Again, I think this is a very broken stamp. This is going to be really good for PVE endeavors and surviving guild boss and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So let's jump back into the factions. Actually, we were searching this way. Uh, the next one, so Doom does not have any heroes to provide consolidation. So unfortunately, we are lacking a lot of support in Doom. It really hurts us. Moloch, the new hero, Zora, the new hero, they can provide some unique buffs because Zora does attack down. Moloch does some interesting things as well. You'll let's see. There was one that I was reading, the damage immunity. Uh, 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 Gains one layer to cast Falling Meteor, so grants self damage immunity. Okay, so he will be able to sustain through. It doesn't help your team, but it does help him. I think that this is going to be a unique hero based off of what we have in the faction. A lot of us are going to be using Little Jack. Some of us might be using Zora. We're going to be using a lot of Andros. That's pretty common. So anyhow, that's it for Consolidation and Doom Legion. Of course, Holy Light Parliament does have a lot of Consolidation heroes. So let's just take a quick peek. Now, granted, this can go on any of these heroes. I think that some of them might be better than others. So Elsa here, I think that Elsa, her stamp is designed for her. Let's just quickly take a look at it, and I do like it. Its effects. I don't know if this one will be better, but also we have so many options here that you may not want to use it on Elsa. If you don't have any of these options, if you read into it, increases their healing effect by 32%. When the owner loses 12% or more because of self-skill effects, which is what she does, it grants Beacon for 2 turns if they don't have Beacon. Beacon, when any ally dies, consumes Beacon to restore all remaining allies' HP by 24% of max HP. This actually might not be as useful because you are not trying to die in the faction push. So again, this stamp outshines Elsa's intended stamp in my opinion. But again, we do have other heroes in this faction that can benefit from it, so you might stack them. We're also looking at Grace. Grace provides consolidation on the S2 here. It is a 3-turn cooldown. So Grace is another hero that can benefit from the stamp and help you survive. Now, unfortunately, Holy Light Parliament in general is just not a faction that you're going to have survivability issues with, especially if you're a late game player and you have all of these different supports. It's a very support heavy faction. Traditionally, what we faced in the past is not being able to do enough damage. So with, Grace and Elena and Eosdine, the introduction of Grace really made Holy Light easy. But between those three, you can typically survive through it. I know for Holy Light, what I used was Nordak, Elena, Eosdine, Grace, and Elena here. But she does not provide consolidation, so this one will not benefit from the stamp. If you do use the traditional team that I used, which a lot of other players have used to clear this faction, then you can use this stamp on Grace, and it will help you with survivability. Even though I don't know if you need it. Like I said, Nordak and Elena here is a pretty good wombo combo, and if you don't have like Elena, you can use Elsa. I mean, there's so many support options. There's also for this faction, towards the low spender free to play side. If you don't have, a bunch of different legendary heroes to pick from, Maya is a good one. She also has the consolidation here on the S4. It is a 4-turn cooldown, so it is not as great. But it still works. It will still help you survive and sustain. Uh, and then we've also got Anton does consolidation. So if we look at the S4 here, it is a 4-turn cooldown, and then provides consolidation, so the stamp can work for Anton. So all in all, in Holy Light, the stamp can work on Grace, Elsa, Maya, Anton. And again, this isn't really a sustain faction that you need to worry about surviving in and healing in because there's just so much built-in support. But if you don't have everybody that you need, or everybody that would be considered quote unquote meta for like floor 30, those heroes can help. And again, this is just a really good stamp to have on your side. So it could mean that we start to see some different compositions clear 430 because of those different heroes. If we jump into Sect, now Sect, there is not a lot of good support. We just got Singer. Mammoth is pretty traditional. Quinlan's pretty traditional. We do have Madalena now with the Death Down. That's going to be pretty interesting for the faction. But traditionally, a lot of people have had struggle with survivability in this faction. Now, this hero here has been used in the past, and you'll see it on the boss guides. But they also provide the consolidation in the shield. So this is a stamp that you can use on them. There's a 4-turn cooldown. But again, in a faction that's traditionally not known to have very good healing recovery options, the ability to use the stamp is going to be huge. You might build Vidar into a high HP, high speed build, and be able to make the most out of that stamp. The next one that we're going to go into is the Forgotten. So looking at the Forgotten, there's only one that I found. I believe it is this fella right here provides the consolidation on the S2. It is a three-turn cooldown, and overall, looking at the kit, they've got def up, consolidation. So they're in general like a support. They do provide effect res down, which can help land like bleed stacks and things like that. And they do have a freeze here on a single enemy. So this can be somewhat useful. I don't think that he's traditionally been used, but it's possible that we may see him start to shine. And especially if if you don't have a lot of options, I know traditionally Forgotten as a hard faction. If you don't have a lot of options, you could use him. And like I said, the stamp works on him, so it'll increase your healing. So that's a very good one. Uh, that's it for the Forgotten. In Wizard's Eye, which is probably the most notable faction in my opinion here, because of the two heroes that it works on. So Lydia is the first one that comes to mind. So if we quickly look at her abilities here, Rapid Flow and Water Curtain are both considered as consolidation. So when she casts Knockback Water Shooting or Fresh Summer, which is both S2 and S1, she will provide effects that are considered as consolidation. So basically, she can apply this consolidation every single time. Um, it's very good, very good. Let's see what else. Rapid flow, and then water curtain. So what grants water curtain? If she casts Joyful Party first, all allies will gain water. So Joyful Party, the S4. Basically so she would have to cast it first, right? She would have to cast it first for this to work. Typically and traditionally, you'll start with S4, which will provide the other one. But basically, the stamp can work with her too. I think that inflicts one layer of. Yeah, so she can grant water curtain. Yeah, she can grant these abilities multiple times. Like basically her whole kit is around these two skills. So they're providing consolidation pretty consistently. So this can be really good into making Lydia a healer for this faction. Especially if you don't have if you don't have the means to really nuke through the waves, or if you are having some sort of sustainability issues. I know that the crit rate stamp is going to be really good for her and as far as turn meter reduction. But if you do need some extra healing, you could throw that stamp on her and look into like a HP type build or HP and speed, and just try to like make her a support if you have survivability issues. The other hero that this works on is Alec, because his S4 here provides consolidation, and it's a 4-turn cooldown. So you've got two awesome supports, or Lydia could be damage support, right? We have two awesome heroes here. Very meta for faction pushing that can use this stamp, utilize it to help you with that sustainability. Again, like this stamp I think is really big for faction abyss, and it's for in PvP in a sense of reducing crit rate. But I really see like huge potential for faction bush pushing. A lot of people can do way big things. Nameless Brotherhood. This is a faction that has a lot of heroes that can utilize this stamp. So you've got Inna. Inna provides consolidation on the S2, which is a 3-turn consolidation. That's very good. I think that is the only one. for her. So her S2 will do consolidation. We've got Timmy. He starts the wave with consolidation, so you can use it on Timmy, although he doesn't provide consolidation multiple times, right? 2 turns at the beginning of each wave. That's a passive. Um, Yeah, so we don't get it as often with Timmy, just that one time at the very beginning. So you might not use it on him, but if you don't have another option, you can. I would say that in this case, even though it does work on him, it's probably not the best. I think even Blue Victory Sprint might be better for him. But there's more options. We've got Magdi. So this might bring Magdi more so into teams, especially if you don't have like everybody. This is a hero. He's got healing built into his kit. But his S3 here also provides consolidation. So this is something that you can use with MagD. None of the other skills have consolidation, so this would help you with sustainability. Again, healing is a huge part of Faction Abyss, so all the different forms of healing that you can capitalize on will help you. We've got one more, and this could be for like newer players that are just starting out to push. Hardak provides consolidation here on the S2. It's a 3-turn consolidation, so he can make use of the skill, or he can make use of the stamp as well. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of options in Nameless Brotherhood in order for you to utilize the stamp for your faction push. Now, the refreshable consolidation is going to be a really important part of this. That's why we don't really like it for Timmy. But the fact that you can go into the boss fight and consistently like reduce the amount of crit chance, I guess you could say it's reducing the crit chance, yeah, because it's 24%. Depending on the star, but you can the fact that you can consistently refresh that, so consistently reduce the crit chance is going to be huge because this is a big part of Faction Abyss, and we'll go into the boss skills here in a minute. And then for Hidden Wave, I looked at all the Hidden Wave heroes. It looks like Marville is the only one that we get the consolidation from. The only thing with Marville and all heroes that do like block removal, block debuff type things, or no, block removal. So if a hero has block removal, right, when the boss casts his S4, and we'll go into this right afterwards, but when the boss casts his S4, they will actually take the higher damage amount. It's kind of a double-edged sword here because you do want consolidation, but you also don't want this block removal for the S4. But we'll explain what's going on there. She is the one in this faction though that can utilize the stamp in order to help with the healing. So let's quickly jump into the boss skills and explain why this stamp helps so much for faction. Faction Abyss, and we'll just click on boss guide. Here we go. So we're looking at the skills now, and what we've got here. So his basic attack, if we read, deals 100% attack damage to 3 random enemies with a 30% chance to reduce their defense by 2 turns and a 30% chance to inflict entwine for 2 turns. Of course, this is going to be higher because the higher forward that you go, the higher effect hit the boss has. But anyways, that's 3 stages of direct damage that all have the chance to crit. We don't know what the boss's crit chance is. We can't see some of these stats. They're hidden from us. But this is a direct damage skill. This can crit. The S2 here removes all buffs from enemies and then deals 100% attack damage to all enemies. Deals 300% attack damage to enemies who do not have buffs removed from them instead. Okay, this is actually the skill that I was telling you about. So if you have that block removal from Marville up, whenever he casts this ability, he's not going to remove buffs from them, so he's going to deal 300% attack damage. So that's why the Marville S2 is kind of a double-edged sword. You don't want to have that block removal up for this ability, but you do want to be able to use that consolidation, so that way you can get your healing and you can get your the sustainability. If we go into the endless cycle, when he dies, his death goes down, so he's easier to kill the second time around. But the damage that he deals goes up, so he's dealing more. Lastly, we're going to look at the Chaos Spionics, which is his S4, his ultimate. This deals 3 stages of 100% attack damage. Mind you, all 3 stages have a chance to crit, so this stamp reducing the crit chance is huge for Faction Abyss, to all enemies. So this one stamp reduces damage of the boss. You know, if you have it on a hero that provides consolidation, this reduces so much damage from the boss because he's doing 15 strikes here essentially. All 5 of your heroes times 3, that's 15 hits, all with a chance to crit. And you've just reduced the chance of 15 different attacks by 24%. I mean, that scales so big. This is such a great stamp. Again, if you're doing a faction push and you need that extra just this is a huge stamp for you. It could be a lot. I don't know. Yeah, right here. So at 0 star, 9% increase of the max HP. It still restores 10% of the owner's max HP, so that's very good. This right here doesn't scale. And then the same thing with the 35%. So this is guaranteed. It's not based off the star. The max HP cap increase is based off the star level, and the reduced chance of crit is based off the star level. But again, all of these little stats helps. I think this is going to be huge for faction. So definitely, if you've got some summons and you need some faction pushing done to get your E3 Agatha or prepare for E4, if you've got survivability issues in your guild boss, as a newer player, or even as a more seasoned player, right? If you have survivability issues pretty much anywhere, and there's a hero that provides consolidation on your team, this can help you with survivability. This will help you heal. This will help reduce crit chance. This is just overall good stamp, and there are some pretty good uses in PvP as well in the sense of reducing the crit chance. So just wanted to do a quick overview on this video and get this information out to you guys that this is going to be a really good stamp in multiple different ways. So if you made it this far, thanks for stopping by. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to keep putting out new content. We're going to keep explaining some of these skills, these abilities. I know we've got to do some spotlights on some heroes that people don't quite fully understand because they've got a tendency to put a whole book worth of skill descriptions out. I mean, it seems like every new hero's got all these different skills that they apply, and it's almost like a Bible worth of skills all the time. So we'll definitely be deep diving into heroes. We'll be deep diving into stamps. We'll be deep diving into everything we can to help break down this game and make it easier for everybody to understand. But thank you for stopping by. Until next time.